Welcome to the weekly digital health podcast by White Coat Hackers Media. This is where biotech breakthroughs, biomedical innovation, and the future of digital health come to life. Tune in because the future of health starts here.
Welcome to this deep dive, the weekly digital health podcast by White Coat Hackers Media.
Hey there.
We're jumping straight into a stack of your sources this week, really trying to unpack the most important nuggets shaping the healthcare tech world right now.
That's right. We've got quite a mix today. Everything from, global policy moves that are setting the stage for years to how the market's reacting to a big digital health IPO.
Right, and also how AI is getting really specific, tackling some complex challenges right there in the clinical setting.
Yeah, exactly.
So our mission today is to cut through the noise, understand not just what happened, but really why it matters and, what the implications might be for you, whether you're working in this space or just care about where health is heading.
Okay, let's dive in.
Let's do it.
So first up, the World Health Assembly. WHA 78. They've made a pretty significant decision about the global strategy on digital health.
Okay, right. That original strategy ran from 2020 to 2025. So what's the change?
Well, they've decided to extend that current strategy, push it out through 2027.
Ah, okay. 2 more years.
Yeah. But maybe even more important is they've asked the WHO to get started on developing a completely new global strategy. And this one's for the period 2028 all the way through 2033.
Wow. Okay. So this isn't just kicking the can down the road. It's a real, long-term commitment signal globally.
Exactly. And the mandate for that new strategy, it really emphasizes linking it up with bigger global efforts. Things like the UN's Pact for the Future and, critically, the Sustainable Development Goals, the SDGs.
Right. Those global targets for sustainability, health being a huge part of that.
Precisely. So this extension and the call for a new strategy, it really shows this growing feeling that digital health isn't just optional anymore. It's fundamental. You needed to build health systems that are genuinely equitable, resilient, against pandemics and stuff, and really centered around people.
Makes sense. And if we look back, what has actually happened since the first strategy kicked off in 2020? The sources mentioned some real progress points.
Yeah, they did. And some of it's quite foundational. Like at the country level, 129 countries now actually have their own national digital health strategies.
129. That's huge penetration. It shows countries are actually taking this seriously and tailoring it.
Right. And they're building capacity, too. Over 1,600 government officials from more than 100 countries have had specific training in digital health and AI.
Okay, so you're building the workforce needed to actually do this stuff.
Exactly. And it's moving beyond just planning. They launched the Global Digital Health Certification Network. The claim is it benefits 1.8 billion people across 80 countries.
1.8 billion, wow. What does that network actually do, though? Like interoperable records, verified credentials.
The sources mostly state the reach, but yeah, you can see the potential there for things like cross-border health data, secure verification, that sort of thing.
Okay. And what about AI specifically? That's everywhere now.
Well, they've issued global guidance on AI in health, focusing on ethics and governance, which is crucial, right?
Absolutely essential.
And they've run global workshops to help countries actually put that ethical guidance into practice. It's not just theory.
Good. And are they tracking progress? How do countries know if they're improving?
Yeah, accountability seems key. 130 member states have used something called the Global Digital Health Monitor. Basically, it helps them assess their digital health maturity, gives them a baseline to work from.
Right, so they can measure how far they've come.
And the collaboration piece seems stronger, too.
Yeah.
Government-to-government initiatives are running in 4 WHO regions now, and 40 member states have joined the Global Digital Health Partnership.
So it's not just the WHO pushing it from the top down, it's becoming more networked.
Yeah, and that's reinforced by other groups getting involved, too, the ITU, the African Union, PAHO down in the Americas, alongside things like the Global Initiative on Digital Health and the WHO's own Innovation Hub. It's a multi-pronged effort.
There's a quote here from Dr. Alain Lebrique. He's the director of WHO's Digital Health Department. He said, "This extension is not just about adding 2 more years, it's about accelerating action." With a renewed mandate extending from 2028 to 2033, we are entering a critical phase where digital health must be purposefully scaled and equitably integrated into every health system. From AI to telehealth, we have the tools. Now we must ensure they reach and benefit everyone.
That really nails it, doesn't it? The shift from, building foundations to really scaling up and getting it integrated everywhere.
Yeah. So for you listening, why does this high-level global policy stuff matter?
Well, look, it seems distant, maybe, but it's basically laying the tracks. It's the framework that allows for the digital tools that could improve universal health coverage where you live, make us better prepared for the next health crisis, and even build systems that can cope better with things like climate change impacts on health.
So it's about making sure the technology actually works for everyone, everywhere.
That's the goal.
Okay, so that's the big picture policy. Let's pivot now to the market side of things, money. There was a pretty significant event in health tech investment this week.
Indeed. Hinge Health, they're a big name in the digital musculoskeletal or MSK care space. They just had their IPO, went public.
Right, Hinge. They do those digital programs, for back pain, knee pain, stuff like that. At-home exercises, coaching using AI. Founded back in 2014, I think. Daniel Perez and Gabriel Mecklenburg.
That's them. So their U.S. IPO, it raised a good chunk of change, $437.3 million.
Okay.
They priced the shares at $32 each, which was actually the top end of their planned range, $28 to $32.
And how many shares did they sell?
About 13.7 million shares.
Mm-hmm.
And now you can find them trading on the New York Stock Exchange. Ticker is HNGE.
Got it. HNGE. But here's the kicker, right? That $32 price. How does that compare to their, private valuation from a few years ago?
Yeah, that's the really interesting part. That $32 per share price, it puts their valuation nearly 52% lower than the massive $6.2 billion valuation they got in their Series E funding round. That was back in 2021.
Wow, 52% lower. That's quite a haircut from the private market pick.
It really is.
Yeah.
And it tells you a lot about how the whole investment climate for these growth stage tech companies has changed, right?
Mm.
The market now, it wants to see profits, or at least a really clear path to them, not just growth at any cost like in 2021.
So the froth is definitely gone.
Oh, yeah. Though the IPO did happen, which is something. Sources say the overall U.S. IPO market is seeing a bit of a cautious revival in early 2025, maybe helped by things like U.S.-China trade tensions easing off a bit. It created a slightly better window.
But investors are clearly being much more selective, more disciplined than they were.
Absolutely. And you had big banks leading this, offering Morgan Stanley, Barclays, BofA Securities. So even with that valuation drop, the fact that a focused digital health company like Hinge can go public successfully with major backing, it suggests there's still an appetite for solid business models.
Yeah.
Just at, more grounded valuations.
Right. Real businesses, not just hype.
Exactly.
Okay, so moving from investment trends, let's talk about big tech getting deeper into the healthcare trenches. Microsoft made an announcement related to AI in cancer care.
Yeah, this sounds pretty sophisticated. They've unveiled what they're calling an AI agent orchestrator, specifically for cancer care coordination.
An agent orchestrator. What exactly does that mean? Like a conductor for AI?
Kind of, yeah. Think of it as a system that lets multiple different AI agents, each good at a specific task, work together on a bigger, more complex problem.
Okay.
So in cancer care, the idea is to help streamline really complicated workflows, like preparing for tumor boards, where all the different specialists review a patient's case together. The orchestrator helps manage the AI agents doing parts of that prep work, ultimately aiming to improve clinical decisions.
Gotcha. So it coordinates different AI skills. What kind of tasks can these agents actually handle?
Well, the sources say it can manage agents that can reason over really complex EHR data, electronic health records.
Which are notoriously messy.
Exactly. So tackling things that take clinicians or staff hours right now, like building a detailed timeline of a patient's cancer journey from all the scattered notes and reports, or figuring out the precise cancer stage, which can be tricky.
Those sound incredibly time-consuming manually, pulling all that info together.
For sure. And Microsoft's providing the plumbing, too. It uses tools like Microsoft Fabric and the FHIR data service, FHIR being that standard for exchanging health data. That's key for making it all work together.
And can hospitals customize this? Or is it one size fits all?
No. Customization seems central. Health systems can apparently use their own developers to create or tweak these agents, use their own models, their own data, set their own instructions.
Okay, that's important.
And it's built to integrate into existing workflows, tools clinicians already use, like Microsoft Teams, Word, PowerPoint, even their Copilot AI assistant.
Integration is always the hurdle. What about trust? Can clinicians see why the AI is suggesting something? Explainability.
Yeah, they highlight that. The system is designed to show its work, basically, grounding its outputs back to the original source data in the EHR. That's table stakes for clinical use, right?
Mm-hmm.
Doctors need to understand the how.
Absolutely non-negotiable. And the data types it handles.
Yeah.
It's not just text, right?
No, it's handling really diverse stuff. Clinical notes, yes, but also DICOM image files, pathology slides, those whole slide images, even genomics data.
Yeah.
Getting AI to work across all those different modalities effectively is a huge challenge. Microsoft themselves said something like modular general reasoners as well as specialized multimodal AI agents work together to augment clinician specialists. The key word there is augment, helping, not replacing.
Right. And are major health systems already kicking the tires on this?
Looks like it. The sources mentioned early development partnerships with places like Stanford, Johns Hopkins, Providence Genomics, Mass General Brigham, University of Wisconsin. Getting that kind of early feedback and validation from top institutions is critical.
Definitely lends it credibility. And this fits into Microsoft's broader AI push, doesn't it? It's not just a one-off healthcare thing.
No, not at all. We've seen them investing heavily in AI generally, like adding xAI's Grok 3 model to their Azure cloud. And they already have healthcare integrations, like with Blue Shield of California, or helping Fujitsu convert medical data to FHIR on Azure. This cancer orchestrator feels like a very targeted application of that bigger AI platform strategy within the health sector.
Yeah, identifying these specific, high-value, complex problems where AI could really move the needle, like cancer coordination. Okay, sticking with AI, tackling specific problems, let's look at administrative burden.
Ah, yes, the bane of many clinicians' existence. We're talking about clinical registry reporting.
Right. These registries are super important, yeah. Databases tracking outcomes for specific conditions like heart surgery or joint replacements. They help hospitals improve quality, do research, follow best practices.
Absolutely vital. But the problem is getting the data into them. It's incredibly manual. Clinicians, nurses, staff spending hours and hours, potentially hundreds of hours per registry per year.
Just digging through patient charts to find and abstract the specific data points needed.
Exactly. Time that could be spent, actually caring for patients or working on improvement projects.
So this is where another AI solution comes in.
Yes, a partnership between White Plains Hospital up in New York and an AI company called Layer Health.
Layer Health, what's their angle?
They've built an AI platform specifically to automate that chart review process for registry reporting.
Okay, automating the abstraction.
Yeah.
And the benefit is?
Well, the idea is it helps the hospital meet those quality reporting requirements much more efficiently. Frees up all that staff time for other things. And it lets them potentially scale up their quality efforts across more registries because the manual bottleneck is reduced.
Makes sense. Who is Layer Health? Are they established?
They came out of MIT. The founders have serious cred. David Sontag is CEO and an MIT professor, and Stephen Horn is a Harvard emergency physician. So you've got that blend of deep AI expertise and real-world clinical understanding.
That's a good combination. How does their AI work? Is it just another large language model?
They say their approach is a bit different. Their algorithm is trained to look at a, quote, larger swath of unstructured patient data than maybe some other LLMs doing similar tasks. They're aiming for a really comprehensive review of the whole chart using advanced LLMs trained specifically on longitudinal patient data. The goal is to get clinician-level accuracy on both the structured and unstructured stuff in the record.
Interesting. And it sounds like White Plains Hospital didn't just, buy software off the shelf.
No, the sources really emphasize the partnership aspect. White Plains was looking for a collaborator, not just a vendor. They're working closely, figuring out the specific pain points, iterating on the technology together.
So co-development almost.
Yeah, Layer Health CEO called White Plains forward-thinking for embracing AI like this and framed it as a multi-year partnership aiming to take a very big bite out of that manual workload.
Taking a very big bite. I like that. That could make a huge difference to staff burnout and efficiency. Okay, finally, let's shift to AI tackling a major chronic disease.
Right. News this week about a collaboration involving some big players. Sanofi and Regeneron, the pharma companies, and Viz.ai, the AI platform company.
Viz.ai, yeah, I know them mostly from stroke detection and things like that. What are they focusing on here?
Chronic obstructive pulmonary disease, COPD.
Okay, big problem area. What's the goal of the collaboration?
Essentially, they want to deploy and test Viz.ai's AI module for COPD care coordination. See if it can help health systems get better at detecting and managing COPD at scale.
How does the AI actually work for COPD? What's it looking for?
It uses natural language processing, NLP, on EHR data.
Yeah.
It's trying to identify patients who might be at high risk for COPD but haven't been diagnosed or maybe aren't getting the right treatment. It flags them based on clinical guidelines for, screening and triage.
And why is that so important for COPD specifically?
Well, COPD affects a huge number of people globally, nearly 400 million. But despite that, it's often missed, underdiagnosed, undertreated. Lots of people are living with breathing problems and limitations without really knowing why or getting proper help.
So the AI is trying to find those needles in the haystack earlier, close those care gaps.
Exactly. The aim is to improve access to timely diagnosis, get people onto the right treatments faster, and help manage the condition better over time. By accurately identifying the high-risk folks and alerting clinicians, they hope to enable more personalized care, maybe prevent some of the really severe late-stage disease burden.
Makes sense. And Sanofi and Regeneron's involvement, they have skin in the game, right?
They do. They co-developed Dupixent, which is a biologic drug used for a specific type of inflammatory COPD. So helping identify more patients who might benefit fits their strategy.
Right. And for Viz.ai, this seems like a move beyond their usual acute care focus.
It is. Their platform is in tons of hospitals, over 1,700, used by thousands of providers, but mostly known for time-critical things like stroke. This COPD collaboration is a clear strategic step into managing high-burden chronic diseases, applying their AI know-how to conditions that need ongoing, coordinated care, not just rapid alerts.
Interesting expansion for them. Okay, so let's just recap briefly. We've covered a lot of ground.
Good range.
From the WHO extending its global digital health strategy out to 2033, that long-term vision setting.
Right, the policy foundation.
To the market reality check with Hinge Health's IPO valuation.
The investment climate.
And then these really specific AI applications. Microsoft's complex orchestrator for cancer care.
Coupling complexity.
Layer Health, automating that tedious registry reporting.
Reducing administrative burden.
And Viz.ai, Sanofi, and Regeneron targeting better detection and management for a massive chronic disease like COPD.
Improving chronic care pathways. It really shows how fast things are moving and how interconnected it all is.
It really does. You've got global policy, investment trends, big tech platforms, specialized AI startups, pharma, all pushing in related directions.
They might seem like separate stories, but they're all part of the same larger shift in healthcare, driven by digital tech and data.
So here's something to think about. How are all these different threads, the big strategies, the money flows, the increasingly sophisticated AI tools, tackling very specific clinical problems, how are they all weaving together right now to reshape how healthcare actually gets delivered and what kind of outcomes we can expect? Where does this convergence take us next?
Definitely a lot to watch unfold. It's happening quickly.
Absolutely. Well, that wraps up our deep dive for this week. If you like this podcast, please subscribe to the channel and like the content.
Thanks for tuning in.